Hey, it's Douglas Boneparth, president of Bonafide Wealth. I am panicked about how I'm going to get this day done when my kids are coming home in the next hour.
Fuck 2022. Is this on?
Yeah, it's
Just
on.
fuck it.
Okay.
Can you say it?
Fuck it. Fuck 2022.
That is the theme. And I want to get right to our guest, but I see a note here, Knut says we should do 15 minutes preamp because the guest is a little bit boring. Am I supposed to read these out loud? This is a problem when you're late. You just start reading stuff.
Probably not. Yeah,
All right,
no,
show
no,
note. So when it says show note, don't
And
read
we
that
know
out
that
loud.
that's the exact opposite thing.
Dude, it says here in Norwegian, guest is
No, we're
a
talking
horse's
about,
dick. Wait a minute. Hestecook. Now I'm really confused. The funny thing is how you guys used to give me swear words in Norwegian to start bar fights when we were in college.
I know, that was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awesome. How is the cruise? No Morton here for the winter?
Was here. He's going to be back mid-January again.
So maybe we could get together?
We definitely would,
Is there a reason you don't call when he's in town?
I don't know.
All right, is Hans coming in?
Not for a while. Don't know yet.
So it's Morton, Hans, Knut. What is another good name? What's our other friend? What's your...
Tura.
Tura?
Stein.
No, Stein. Love Stein.
You know Stein.
Last name first. First name last.
Yeah.
We have a great guest, a friend of mine. Like I always say, if there was a Olympic for hair, he would represent Team USA. Someone said represent Team USA on the senior team, and I go, if you're representing Team USA in the senior team, that's even more of a feat as a male than representing the Utes, because everybody who's a Ute has hair.
Well, he's a lot younger than we
He was
are.
a youthful, married with 2 kids, financial advisor. I think he's in his 30s, which to me is just like looking back and like
Unfathomable.
it's like a teen. And so Doug Boneparth, I think it's Jewish. I can't remember. We had him on, and he's a big Kanye fan. So we'll see if that's changed. I have no idea. I'm just making a remark early.
Set the tone.
Set the tone. So Doug's on. He is a financial advisor. And there's 2 things that I believe in with respect to money. That, Jim talks about being young people are time billionaires, so get going. Just steal from yourself and start investing because you'll figure things out. Steal from yourself right off the top of your paycheck. And the second thing is get an advisor. Jesus, it's cheap. Everybody talks about just get someone working for you, explaining how things work. So Doug represents that. I think most of his clients are young professionals. So we'll catch up on how they're thinking about if they think 2022 is fuck you 2022 as well. He's at the cutting edge. He has tweets that go like 20,000. Like a popular one of mine will get 50. I think because I'm Jewish and Elon Musk hates Jewish people. But again, I don't know. He hasn't responded to any of my tweets about that. And I'm being gaslighted. And so he gets like 20,000 tweets. Imagine how popular our podcast would be if I could get 20,000. That's why I'm having him on the show. Cut this part out. This is why he's on. I hope he retweets something funny about it.
I don't cut anything out, Howard. Sorry. It's going to have to stay.
All right. Well, this stays. So let's get him on the horn, see what he's panicked about, and see what he thinks about 2023. Let's get him on. Doug.
Hey,
What's up, my man?
I'm here. How are you?
All right. No pressure. I feel like I'm in a funny mood, so this should help you be funny. Do you remember your best tweet? And there's 2 things. The tweet that made you laugh the minute you sent it, because I know which ones I feel. Everything you write, I laugh. I don't have mobile notifications, so there's about 10 people. They'll just go online once every few days and just see what they said over the last few days. Charlie Bilello for finance, you for just irreverence. What has made you laugh that you've sent recently?
I'll give you a recent one because they're all bangers, Howard.
Dude, you're a 90% banger. I'm a 5% banger.
Here, this one went, I'll give you 2 that were very
one
recently.
That just surprised you and one that you knew was funny. Who cares how many likes it got?
Right. All right, cool. So it actually ended up getting a lot of likes, and it was my kind of humor. So I was really,
humble
I was
brag.
really,
Let's get to
and
it.
it was timely. It had to be done in the moment, otherwise it just wouldn't make any sense. The U.S. soccer team was playing Netherlands, and Netherlands scored that third goal, pretty much locked up the game. And I tweeted, "We should invade the Netherlands."
Not only, but I mean, that's actually really good strategic advice.
Yeah,
They're English speaking. They're fucking do it on King's Day when they're all drunk.
yeah.
I mean,
people were like,
that's a banger advice.
The funniest replies were like, "Doug, they don't have oil. Like, it's not going to happen." But like Royal Dutch Shell, but we can take shares of, I guess, we can just take over, Shell and
no, from there it's Denmark, right. And then a hop, skip, and a jump to Norway.
It's our access.
Once you're in the Netherlands, we got Canuts working for us. Exactly. We got a bunch of giants in Norway that we take. You got to have. It's a classic land war. Anyways, that is funny.
My Viking recruitment strategy.
Did you think it was funny, or it got more likes than you?
No, I thought it was funny, and then
okay. I don't think it's that great. Which one did? Well, I say invade Canada every 2 weeks,
right?
So I mean, it's not like that.
I thought it was
original.
really good, Doug. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And by the way, it is a perfect war move because people go, they're not invaded. They would never do this. There's no oil, so we sneak in, zip out.
They got tulips and clogs.
So I love the Netherlands, though, and we would wreck it. So I'm actually, as an American, against that. Okay, next one that just went bananas.
So that one.
So how much did that one get?
That was like 9,000 likes.
Fuck,
man.
Yeah, because I've had a few 10,000ers, and my phone won't. And I don't do mobile notifications. I can't fucking open up Twitter when I get a 10,000.
You mute it. You got to mute it because you'll end up staring at your phone all day and hurting your brain.
Yeah, it's not even staring at it. It's just you can't get any work done if you open it. And
you can't read. You also can't read your notifications, so it's a problem.
Correct. And then which was the fucking banger?
Oh, there was a massive one, but it's just not funny. But this one is.
But there's a reason they go viral. So what was it?
Yeah, that was tapping into sentiment. Like you tap into sentiment, you probably go more viral than being funny. But this one did both. I was reading cringy after cringy LinkedIn post for some reason about someone explaining how much money they were making each month and what they did to get there as one of those real VC kind of congratulating themselves type tweets. And I love doing misdirects. So I never thought I'd be making $74,000 a month by the age of 38. Turns out I was right.
And what'd that do?
28,500.
Holy shit!
Listen, I have
that surprised. I thought it was funny. I thought it was actually too easy, and I knew it would be something that people would like. But those aren't the ones you're really proud of. The ones you're proud of are the ones where you're in the shower or on the shitter and you tie a couple narratives together that are happening right now with like the wittiest thing that just popped into your mind, and you get excited because when you do it, you just know. The ones are the most fun ones. The ones that will do well because it's a layup aren't as fun.
Correct. And you have it at a scale that I don't know. So maybe once a month I'll do 5 to 10K.
Howard, there's nothing good about my talent here. And the reason is, in order to even do this, you have to first have a crippling addiction to a social media platform.
What's wrong with that?
Puts you in the position to read and feel sentiment narratives and your audience.
Makes you good at your job. Fine. Listen. I'm not going to. I'll apologize for a lot of things. Let me just put your mind to rest here. Fucking the richest guy in the world is tapping into sentiment.
Right.
The people that aren't tapping into this sentiment, God bless them. Like if they can avoid the drug, all power to them. But if you're in the business and you're avoiding the drug, I think you're not doing your clients a service. Tapping into the sentiment is the markets are human behavior.
Yeah.
This stuff only works once in a while, so it's always about human behavior, whether you're with it or fading it. So if the smartest people in the world are on Twitter, even if they're just on it to complain about it and not tweet, it's a priceless asset. So I don't think that you can apologize for a lot of things. Doing your job, which is what part of this is understanding how the world is thinking, or at least the world that matters to business and finance and markets. Super important. So you feel you have an addiction, which is what you think gives you the ability to tap into it. Your ability to not tweet a lot, though, is part of that, too. So how you just are able to not say anything unless you feel it really taps into something?
I wish it was like that. I'm trying to get better with that being the case. I have gotten to the point where I want to get that relevant, thought-provoking, humorous joke out and move on with my day. It's been a lot of
By the way, Adderall and a coffee will help you move on with your day.
Yeah, listen, literally
wash your hands, but of course, Adderall and coffee
having my coffee, which I love, and walking, my kid to school, or by the time I'm done doing that, I get a moment of the creativity that I can get things off. And I look for that narrative, and I look for that sentiment of how we're opening the day. And a lot of times it's very much market related. You're not wrong. Like, understanding this is very beneficial for what I do for a living, but it's now become a little bit of a chore, and I'm doing something about that. The last
shouldn't be a chore.
It shouldn't. You're right.
You have to be able to turn it over. And even if it means you do 8 in a row and no one reads them, you have to do it for yourself, not for other people.
Exactly. And I think the jokes are for myself more than anybody else. Correct. Because it helped me get through. And this is what I wrote about to open up my Substack. I wanted to talk about how uncomfortable it's become to even think about going back to the thought leadership and content creation I did before I was scaling this Twitter account of memes and shit posts. Like, you could, and I saw it through web traffic and what was happening to my funnel. So I do take a very serious business approach to it. I did 80 reps in a row of writing week in and week out from like 2017 through 2019 before COVID smashed my nice, neat little day and way of operating. And I dove headfirst into the dumpster fire that is twitter.com and started connecting with people through using humor to my advantage.
Oh, so you started late. You started Twitter late?
I've been on it for 10 years, but I was network. So from like 2017 through 2019, I used it to network my way through this FinTwit world that we have and make genuine connections and friends with folks like you and people that we enjoy the company of.
Am I the most important person you've met over that time?
Yes.
That takes you seriously?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's my gift.
As far
that's not even a backflap on me.
No, I'm not,
that's what makes me genius. Canute?
Yeah.
Knowing you is not a bad thing, Howard. So it was obviously...
It's not like I had to beg you to come on this.
Not at all. But, I got to increase my legitimacy and credentials and authority by simply doing what I love to do anyways, which is network and meet people and do that. And then all of a sudden shit got fucking dark with COVID. And here I am locked up in my house with a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I needed relief and people needed relief. And I started writing jokes and it worked. And I kept going with that literally for what's been the last 3 years. And I've gotten to a point where I've never asked anyone for anything. Really, I haven't.
No, I call you.
I don't do it. I don't even mean like to be on people's podcasts. I don't ask my audience for anything.
To talk to you.
And now might be the time where, at the very least, can you read what I'm writing now? I'd be so remiss not to now take this thing that I've built and expand upon, greater levels of thinking that I can clearly produce. And I'm excited to do that. And it's not in replacement of, I'm now more excited to continue telling funny jokes and stories, but also be able to share more of myself in a way that I did previously, but got really out of the habit of doing. And it's so uncomfortable. Getting back into these things I used to do fairly well is ridiculously uncomfortable. And it's more of a head trip today now that you have built something big or bigger than it was back then when you had nothing to lose. Like, who cared? Who cared if you wrote a shitty piece or had a shitty tweet? Like, you're no one. And now I'm still no one, but there's enough people demanding a certain thing out of you that it actually makes things kind of uncomfortable.
And when you wake up in the morning, do you decide how long you're going to spend on your hair? Is it just is it different every day? Like Twitter. Is it you wake up and say I'm going to put in 40 minutes on this?
It doesn't see it's
because I wake up and I'm like, I dread looking at myself because there's a recession. It's a global recession. Whereas you wake up and go, I'm going to dedicate 62 minutes. Right now everything I do is quick, other than sitting. So when I'm sitting, I'm committed to sitting. Everything else is like, go to the bathroom. You've got to get in, get out. Wash, get out. Tweets, get in, get out. Everything, look in the mirror. Oh my God, just glance. Whereas my son will spend 3-4 hours looking at himself. You're still at the age where you care. So what is the timeline?
The caring factor has significantly eroded these last 2
I understand, but it's still 10 minutes on the low end?
Yeah, that's accurate. I think 10 to 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes gets it done. I think at maybe at the longest. I could probably do like a really short version of it, but first, the decision is, am I doing my hair today? And then the second is, all right, how much time are we going to invest in that? It's pretty repetitive. I've been doing it long enough. Yeah, 10 minutes seems like it seems accurate to me.
Is it full, like, can you be scrolling Twitter while you do it?
No, you need two hands. You need two hands.
Like 2 hands directly into the mirror.
You're operating a blow dryer.
Yo, blow dryer. Canute, do you use a blow dryer?
Never.
I would burn my scalp.
It's
There's nothing to protect. It would just be hot.
Yeah, you need hair to use one.
Whew,
if guys with hair only knew what a blow dryer could do for them, it would change the game. They would be more successful in everything they do.
My wife has that new one that's like a comb. It's just like, I think it's like $5-6 grand.
Jeez.
And yeah, it comes with like a little Japanese guy that does it for you. In a pack. Like literally a person came out of the box.
Yeah, this is hero.
So I did this. And I swear to God, it really is amazing. Like, my kids notice. They're like, what? Huh? Did you get a hair transplant? I go, wow, I should really blow my hair more. So there is something to it. I just can't imagine spending that much time doing it. And then how many things are on the counter when you do your hair? Because for me, it's a comb.
That is an excellent question. So here's the problem. Let's just cut to the chase. I know you're looking for my intellectual property around my hair, and you're lucky. And you're lucky. I'm going to give it to you because I'm good like that. I'm nice. I'm a giver. And the first thing you need to have is your hair wet. The second thing, you're then going to put in some styling spray or holding spray. My favorite brand here is Bumble and Bumble. They do a good job of creating quality products for both men and women. So some thickening.
Bumbleandbumble.com?
Yeah, I think so.
Really? I thought that was the address for the Fed.
Not yet.
Okay, bumbleandbumble.com.
No, I'm trying to think of the parent company. It's a big company that owns them. Anyways.
So Bumble and Bumble.
Use some thickening spray. Now here's where all the work is, guys.
Spray. Genius.
This is where the work is. It's the blow dryer. The 5 minutes with the blow dryer, because you're basically
Let's say you get it wrong. The thing about my blow dryer, if I turn my head for a second or don't concentrate, my hair is pinned in some direction that makes me look even worse.
Blow drying your hair is like active management for investments.
Right. You have to be if I'm going to start blowing my hair regular, I'd have to take the Adderall before blowing my hair, because you
got to concentrate here, because this is where all the shape is going to come in. So that coif, that bouffant shape is mostly the work of hot air. And if anyone knows anything about hot air, it's you, Howard. So this is your specialty right here. And then all you get, this is where it starts to get a little more complex. You take a little bit of hair paste, also Bumble and Bumble. This is I'm going to put all the links to their products in the show notes.
But then say you have to lie down for a quick nap. Not that we do have time for that.
It gets the more you fuss with it, the better it's gonna even look. Like it just evolves throughout the day. Maybe that perfect coif in the morning and more of a rustled feathers kind of look by the afternoon. It's good for all occasions.
Oh,
the worst part about it.
I'd be the worst part right now with the amount of people that follow me on Twitter. If I was a good looking person, I'd be killing it.
Yeah, you'd have 750,000
My
followers.
DMs would be lit up. No, the ladies would be sliding into my DM.
And here we are,
Yeah, this is why I'm not trying so hard anymore to be funny. What's the point?
That's the hair routine. By the way, you finished this off with the absolute worst hairspray you could get at CVS.
Really?
Like you use the really shitty Tresemme No. 4 spray, just to get nice dusting to keep that in shape, so it holds itself together. And
bless you.
There you go. For guys who know, and you do it all, get good at it. You're all in 10 minutes, and you too, 90% male listener of this podcast, you too can have great hair.
Ah. Now switching to what we do for a living is I hate this year. and we got inflation. We've got, what a segue. We've got inflation. We have interest rates. We have fraud. I'm trying to sum up this year in as few data points as I've had.
Yeah. Don't forget war.
Oh, right. I'm talking about the market. But you're right. War.
That counts.
I'm going to get canceled for this. But of course, war. So good point. War first, interest rates, inflation, and then fraud.
A lot of things. And the fraud, a lot of Fed stuff.
A lot of things. What's the average age of your clientele?
28 to 42.
What are they thinking about 2022? What do the calls sound like? Do they even know what's going on?
Yeah, they're very smart.
And I understand they're smart. What are they talking about? I
try and preempt them with the thing that either they are thinking about or like what I know they're thinking about, but they might not say, because it's on all of our minds. I think it's primarily, will a recession take their job away?
Okay, job. Makes sense. That's fair.
I think jobs is the number one concern and priority is as you read headlines of, almost in mass layoffs.
Is it jobs because they know they're overpaid and underemployed, or is it jobs because they fear, what are they fearing? Do they understand that they're overpaid and underemployed?
I think they don't.
Or am I the asshole that they're scared of?
A mix of both. Probably leaning more towards you being the asshole they're scared of.
Yeah, I teed that up.
It depends on what they're doing and who you ask. There's no doubt there's plenty of the tech world here that has been, fed like one of those foie gras.
Isn't it unbelievable? Gooses. Like a fucking Kobe beef. Like whatever you call those cows.
I was going for the foie gras goose. Same concept, right?
Motherfucker.
No,
Google has 200,000 employees. Average pay is like 300-ish.
I think, and you'll find out, this is what I'm writing about as we speak, is the idea that for most of my clients, if you're like me, a geriatric millennial, I'm 38, so that's the upper end of the generation. Technically, it's our second recession, and our first one was 2008 and 9. Hell of a start to understanding what a recession looks like by taking the worst one outside of the Great Depression. So technically it's our second, but really it's our first, because if I had to think about
March 22 is an hour.
Yeah, I mean, I was 24, right? I moved to New York City in 2008, watched it all collapse before my eyes. My biggest...
You had no money.
Exactly. I was broke. I had no money. I couldn't even take advantage of it. And all I was doing... All I could do was get experience and pray to God I wasn't going home to South Florida. I just showed up. That's all. But to me, that felt like life or death. To my wife, it felt like life or death. Now, if you applied that circumstance to where I'm at today with mortgages and kids and businesses and all of that shit, it's just unparalleled how much different, that stress and reality would be versus what, me and my peers experienced in 2008 and 2009. So technically, it's our first recession in many, many ways as like full-fledged adults. And for a lot of my younger clients, it truly is their first. They have no idea. I literally cried in a meeting after I asked a client where they were in 2008, and their reply was middle school. Like, fuck, I'm old, right? And you guys probably think I'm a spring chicken, but that was my first moment of holy shit. Like my trauma and age is showing now.
And so they're worried about their jobs. What's the average net worth of a client at what's the name of your firm?
Bonafide Wealth.
Okay, so what's the average, what would you say account?
I would use income.
Median.
Let's use income instead, because I think it more fairly represents, the clientele, because you can get from a very low net worth to a very high net worth in a short period of time when your career is growing quickly. So average households earning between 400 and 1.2 million. So 400,000 to 1.2 million.
Oh, cry me a river.
Cry you a river.
1.2. Yeah,
there's some...
It's a nice place to be for a 35-year-old.
I mean, probably it is. It's a really, really great place. But I've seen so much. I can show you someone making $1 million a year with not much to show for it, and I can show you a household making $150,000 a year, and they have a lot to show for it.
Well, that's the point of all this is
100%.
People need advisors. So what does it look like for you? Tell me the data, is it planning or is it more investing or is it what is the
Mostly,
customer
yeah,
get?
mostly planning. So we lead with financial planning. So delivering comprehensive financial plans and backing that up with quarterly meetings and access to us when you have questions that come up. Life's fickle. Things happen all the time. Hopefully you'll call your financial advisor when, something big pops off that affects your financial life. So there's a ton of servicing involved, a lot of deliveries. I love when it evolves beyond just what we're writing down on a piece of paper in the form of a financial plan, and we're able to take that information and actually guide people with real life decisions that come their way. It could be taking a new job halfway across the country, and what you're going to do for daycare and what your spouse is going to do about their job, and you can't say no to the opportunity. How is that going to change the calculus of what you've been planning on doing to reach your goals? Those are awesome conversations and complex conversations, and very much requires a relationship and understanding of that person. So you can get real deep with this stuff. It's such a far cry from managing portfolios where by and large we're a, buy and hold passive shop. I'm not out here telling people I got, the secret sauce. The secret sauce is being disciplined and consistent about investing your money. And we don't talk about that nearly enough. People have no fucking clue how hard it is to get to a point where you can regularly, consistently, and in a very disciplined way, continue to contribute and stick to your strategy. That's where, and if you can do that and do it for very long periods of time, you win. You win the game of investing, which is to compound your wealth to get to the goals you want. That's it. We've made it so difficult to focus on that very fact that it's now easier for people to believe in some kind of bullshit product that was going to be their saving grace instead of focusing on doing the repetitions and building the muscle memory to actually build real wealth over long periods of time. The last 2.5 years was probably the worst thing that could have ever happened for new investors to understand how this game works.
Yeah. Can't undo it, but that's what I'm saying. I was more aggravated on the way up. This just feels normal to me now. It's not fun, but it's just like...
I agree with that. Howard, I agree with
but
that
I'm
because
57.
People... Yeah.
So I get the other side. I actually feel for the other side this year, even though I'm getting killed. I'm getting killed because I can't get out of the way of all the bozos. And so I was mad last year when I knew the bozos I wasn't going to be able to get out of the way of all the bozos. I didn't know where the secret bozo lay.
Right.
Of course, I'm part bozo myself. So I was more aggravated over 2021 when I'm like, no one cares what I think. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to protect myself, and I don't short stocks or try and truly time the market.
No, you nailed it.
No, it's not that I nailed it. If I nailed it, I would be...
No, the sentiment.
Yeah.
Like last year, as a financial professional, was very frustrating, more so than this year, which is a shitty year for stocks, shittier year for bonds. Yet I feel like normalcy in many regards has returned, to the table when it comes to how we operate. And I feel that I can give advice that actually, people will bite down hard on. If you gave good advice in 2020 and 2021, you were laughed at. And that's very frustrating when you're a professional and you're right. That's not ego talking. That's experience talking. And you have any... No,
I wasn't laughed at. I didn't know exactly how it would play out. I just knew it would feel like this. And I'm just a regular person who has no extra special skill picking stocks or shorting stocks or timing the market. So I knew I was just going to feel this pain. And so I couldn't enjoy the last year of it. I was making fun of it more, and that's not worth it. So I'm with you on that. Now it's normal. Now there's choice. Now people can take an hour to think about asset allocation. So what does 2023 look like to someone like yourself who has all the headaches of a millennial or whatever we call your age people now, yourself and your clients? Because you're in the boots of the same boots, right? Like, so... I was a bond guy as of October. I became Howard the Bond Boy. And it feels really good. Like I never was interested in bonds. I never cared about bonds.
Yeah. You should be now after
meaning
that.
I bought bonds before I bought a hairdryer. And that's unbelievable. I used to make fun of the bond people. And October of this year, I was the AGG boy. Which is, I don't know.
So you're long. You made your decision to go back long duration in October.
partly it was a trade idea, more like, okay, I can take 5% for 2 years or 4.8%. I'm like, and for me, it was more like, it also allows me to say no to people when I just honestly said, listen, I'm in T-bills for a year, call me back in a year.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was an awesome move. My wife would hear me talking to founders. Oh, well, could you do this one person? Because everybody's calling me all day. I do pitches all day.
Yep.
And my wife listens in a lot of the time, and she just shakes her head half the time. But half the time, the pitch is like, guys, what's the price? And I'm out of the deal like immediately. And they go, well, what about looking at a person? I go, well, guys, I'm in T-bills. You should read my Twitter account. And Ellen hears the stuff and laughs. So yes, we have choice. And this is this thing I've been harping on to people, is it's okay to still own a few tech things, which I do, but you got to make sure you know what you own, because they still can drop 30%. But I'm quite comfortable in the brands that I own, down 70%, that, you know, I understand my risk at this point. But bonds became really important to me, because, and they should, if you can earn, Robinhood's paying almost 3.5%. If you can earn almost 5% in October on 1 year out Treasury bills when they were zero.
Mm-hmm.
Zero the year before.
Yeah, you got 4.79 on a 1 year now. It's
so that is not normal, especially normal in terms of the last 20 years. But that's also opportunity. It's like, okay, now I can sit with a financial advisor. This is good for you.
You said the word I was hoping for, the O word, the opportunity.
So where is the opportunity in 2023?
Right. So my mind is,
and beyond.
Yeah, my mind for the clients is, how do we put ourselves in a position to take advantage of the opportunities that have availed themselves and will continue to avail themselves throughout a recession?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That has to happen. It's not we want it to happen, it's we must have it happen, especially if you're a passive investor, right? You have to be just as good, if not better, buying on the way down than you were on the way up. Everyone can do that part and feel good about it. Ooh, cool. It went up. That's not the type of thinking we need. We need the harder stuff that comes with being very well behaved when you have every right to freak out, right? So there's a lot that can and cannot be controlled, mostly stuff that can't be controlled in a recession. You can't change the market, the economy. You can't do the Fed's job for them as much as you wish you could. So we'll focus on managing risk as much as possible, mostly around career risk. And then second, we're going to put ourselves in a position to take advantage of those opportunities that are going to be, we're already down 25% on the S&P 500 this year. Like, this was a great year to kick off, being a little bit more aggressive about, first of all, affording to do it, but then second, buying discounted assets. We need to be able to do that. So I want to get clients geared up, tuned up, conditioned right to go into a little bit of a, we're just going to dollar cost average, but this is the time we need to be feeling very confident despite, it's funny how it works out that way. When shit's hitting the fan, that's where you need to stand your ground the most. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on the good gettings.
Yeah.
I think that's really hard for people to do, no matter who you are.
Yeah. It's, I've been telling people, this is a time to redo 2022's, the fuck you year, but it's also not just a time about opportunity. And part of the opportunity is rethink who you're following, who your mentors are, who this, because I'm partly exposed by, as a momentum investor, it's been a good, 10 years. So I'm partly exposed too, right? As much as my strategy has to finally evolve again, right? So it's a good time for young people to rethink who they look up to and who should be, who their filters. There's, like I said, there's no such thing as information overload, only filter. The information overload's never going to end. So now it continues to be about filters. And in bad years, it's time to rethink who you look up to and who's given good advice and who do you want in that peloton around your family and your planning, putting you in the right direction. So this is a really good time for people like yourself who like doing this to really talk to people, I would think.
I do my best business when things are either really, really good or really, really bad. I think the worst thing for business for folks like me is when things don't change and they're stagnant. So, it will be challenging, but I also know there's a lot of rewards that come with growing, a wealth management practice when things are tough. and I was born out of 08, 09. That's kind of hard coded into my DNA as a business person. That trauma I've transformed into ultimately the decisions, but the long games that I choose to play are very much shaped by, a lot of financial trauma that I experience and watch my friends experience early on. And I think one of the biggest lessons I took away, like we were saying earlier, I was too young and poor to do anything about it. Well, I'm not going to let that happen again. That's the mantra. And it has to be that way again, because that might be the style of investing, meaning, we're passive. We got to buy these dips, but more because they don't come around very often. You just saw the longest bull run in history. It took 13 years from bottom to top. Can young people, certainly older people, afford to wait another? I believe these cycles are getting longer and the recessions on average are getting shorter. Can we really afford another 13 years to have the opportunity to buy those discounted assets? I think not. If there's anything I know about just the principles of investing and the desire to compound your wealth is, you need time on your side, and that's a function of really your age. So that's why it's just so critical. And it's also a function of getting clients from a point in their lives where they had nothing, and meaning they were starting out their journey in adulthood, becoming parents, becoming homeowners, and doing these really almost classic great things in life. That's millennials do that, X does that, boomers and their parents all seek out, these types of things. We're really no different in that regard. I think they're perhaps greater challenges, but every generation has its challenges. Ours are just a little weirder and more technologically focused than the previous ones.
Yeah, you say technologically, so we'll wrap it up in a second around the new writing and how people can reach you. But
love it.
Let's get into the tech here. I share deals with you just because I'm super interested in financial services space.
Yeah.
Calls it
I love when you send me. I love when you send me something.
I see all these people trying to put this stuff into an iPhone, and I just, you know what I mean? The only thing that's worked on an iPhone is like Coinbase. You can buy crypto.
Yep.
And Robinhood is 10 times better than E-Trade. Maybe not anymore, but at the time it was 10 times better. Everything else, and Venmo, which,
mobile payment.
I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, Venmo. And that took forever to catch on. So what are the things that you're using that are somewhat interesting, or is it just a very low-tech business forever?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a definitive tech product that is an absolute game changer when it comes to people taking control of their financial lives. And
right.
The more I say that out loud, the more it makes sense, because everything having to do with personal finance is about personal responsibility. You file this topic under self-care, just like you do diet and exercise. And I don't care how cool the UX is or what the incentives are. If you don't give a shit about it, meaning if you don't give a shit about yourself and your health, in this case financial health, there ain't a single person on God's green earth that will. So it's pretty much table stakes. And as much as I love seeing access to, and where you saw the tech explosion, the fintech explosion, I think, was accessibility to the capital markets and accessibility to private.
Well, that's a word made up by VCs to raise money to over-allocate to startups.
Everyone's got a market.
Hard to say out loud all day, but that's what it was.
Everyone's got to market themselves. I get it, but giving people access to markets that were typically only reserved. No,
that
for
was genius.
People,
that's what I participated in.
I know you're a big participant there, and it's absolutely massive. I, in my heart of hearts, believe the good outweighs the bad, but for the things that aren't the flashing lights of the casinos, the markets, when you think about foundational concepts of which good financial behaviors are really built on, it's the really boring stuff that requires practice, like knowing where your money goes, being able to consistently save and invest. If you can't get those things right, good fucking luck. Good luck to you.
Yeah. I'm always looking for what the youths are using.
Here's what I want. So anyone working on this, holler at us. Here's what I want that I think would be a game changer. Mm-hmm. When big data and AI get good enough to be able to automatically take any expense I'm charging on a card, on any electronic way, and to be able to accurately, and you're gonna be like, oh, that's called Mint or that's called Tiller. And I think those are cool pieces of software. But I want to put in absolutely no thought and work into having all of my expenses perfectly categorized with real data that I can use. And then, that requires big data to understand what every transaction really should be categorized under. Like it's already known, right? If it sees this credit card statement line, it knows that that was meals, or it knew that that was, paying your Verizon bill. Probably says Verizon there. So that needs to be just like automatic, perfectly detailed and correct. And then the AI part is where you'll see the anticipation of how you're about to spend that money. It knows you usually buy a coffee around 8 o'clock, and it can actually give you some insightful information that ultimately helps you change your behavior in real time. That's cool stuff to me. And we're just not there. We're early. We're just not there. It'll be there. And I look forward to it.
Well, that's great advice. One it there. What is the, you're doing a Substack now. We're investors in a company called Beehive, which I think is better. So I don't know how you missed that. But, and so how do people find you? Obviously on Twitter.
Yes.
But what's the Substack?
It's called This Is the Top. So thisisthetop.substack.com. And you can find it there. You find me on Twitter. It'll get you anywhere you need to go.
Yeah. All right, my man. Well, Merry holidays.
Happy Hanukkah, Howard.
I forget. Are you Jewish?
Yeah.
Well, happy Hanukkah. And, the work that financial advisors do, the good ones, there's I just highly recommend people here all the time to speak to somebody. Some people are good at the financial planning. Some people are good at the allocation. You got to find the right person. Kind of like meds. You got to find the right dosage. You got to find the right doctor. So everybody, I hope you appreciate it, Doug. Really good stuff. Really good lessons. Hope 2023 is fantastic. Thanks for taking the time.
Love being here. You're the man, Howard.
Thanks, Doug. Okay, Nat.
Hey, Howie.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Did we learn something there?
Always.
Yeah. I'm really frustrated around the tech in this space, and it's just the tech guys are like, oh, we can disrupt this and disrupt that, but not human behavior. Very hard to really solve this problem. I've seen so much money pissed away by VCs in this space. Anyways, you are listening to Panic with Friends. Knut and I sit down with friends that are in the financial investing, venture capital, trading, just trying to stay a bit ahead of everybody. And you can search my name, Howard Lindzen, or Panic with Friends on Google, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Subscribe, and you will get an alert once a week. Knut and I will be in your ear. Have a great week, everybody. See you soon.
Howard Lindzen is the founder and general partner at Social Leverage. All opinions expressed by Howard and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Social Leverage or StockTwits. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for decisions. Guests may maintain positions in securities discussed in this podcast.